This is EUREKA Online, where you have opportunity to learn your courses, to learn tutorials on your courses and your subjects, and it's an easy way of getting acquainted with your courses and your subjects. Learning it greatly. So, the first topic we're going to take, or the topic we're going to take today, is on function. Function is also called mapping. You can see it on the board. Function is also called mapping. So what is a function? A function is the manipulating an independent variable. A function is the manipulating an independent variable. Manipulating an independent variable to get a dependent variable. Get a dependent variable. So function is manipulating an independent variable to get a dependent variable. If you have a y, you have y is equal to kx. This is a function where x is independent variable. Our k is constant, while y is dependent variable. Okay, so this is a function. So a function is usually odd. Functions are usually odd and must not be even. Functions are usually odd, or a good function is odd and must not be even. Okay, functions are odd and not even. What do we mean by this? Look at these gadgets. Look at these display electronic gadgets, whereby if we put it on, as I've done now, I'm able to put it on. If we press 2, I'm able to press 2. You can see. I'm able to press 2. You can see. Then I take it off and put it on. I press back 2. Look at. So you can see it gave me 2. Then I press 3. Look at it. It also gave me 3. Now you can see that it's odd, because when we press 2, we're able to get 2. And when we press 2 again, we got 2. We press 3, I press 3, we got 3. I press 3 again, we got 3. Now, if peradventure I press 2 and it displays 2, then I press 2 again, display 3, then it's not a function. That is even in that aspect. So that means a button is able to give me two different images, 2 different results. So in that kind of situation, it's not even sometimes when you have your gadget and you are able to press 2, it gave you 2. You press 2 again, gave you 3. That means it's malfunctioning. So it's malfunctioning. That is not a function. So that is just by using the structural material, we have been able to know what function is. Okay? So function cannot be even and it must be what? Odd. Some equations represent function while some does not. Some equation represent function while some does, like this equation s is equal y is equal to s over 3. The power here is odd, then it is what? A function, represent a function. You can also say y is equal to s raised to power 1 over 3. The denominator of that fraction on top of x, or the power of s, that fraction as power of s, that the denominator is odd. Because of that, it's also a function. So we can also have a y is equal to s plus y is equal s is equal maybe 1 over 7. Okay, so this is also a function. Or we can say that y is equal to x squared plus s is equal 1 over 3. Okay, because of this odd number, we say it's what? It's a function. It's a function. Okay, we have some equation that does not represent function too. We have some equation. We have a y equals to s squared. Y is equal to s squared does not represent the function. Y is equal to s raised by 1 over 2 does not represent the function. We have a y squared equals to s squared plus x. It does not represent a function. So a function is usually odd and not even. So the next thing we are going to quickly discuss is definition of terms. Definition of terms. So we want to define some terms that relate to functions. Definitions of terms. Definitions of terms. Definitions of terms. Definition of terms. So the first we'll define is we have a domain. We have a domain. So domain is an input variable in which a function is able to process. Domain is an input variable. You can just say this is an input variable. An input variable. An input variable. An input variable in which a function is able to process. It's an input variable in which a function is able to process. Okay, we have two types of function domain. We have two types of domain. We have a restricted domain. We have a restricted domain. Restricted domain. Restricted domain. And we have a non-restricted domain. We have a restricted domain and non-restricted domain. What is restricted domain? In a restricted domain, we have told you that domain is an input variable. It's an input variable. So in a restricted domain, the input variable that we will use in our function will be given to us. Yes, the input variable will be given to us in such a way that I can just say, well, now the answer to look for the domain of y is equal to s squared plus 3. Then we must be given an input variable of maybe 1, 2, 3. So what we are going to substitute should not exceed and should not be below this value. So it is only the value that can substitute there so that will give us what we expect. So that is what we call restricted domain. So restricted domain, let me just define it. Restricted domain exists when what what to substitute, or when the input variable is defined. Sorry, it's given. Okay, let me just say given. It's given. Okay? So if it's given, then we say that we are having a restricted domain. So we also have non-restricted domain. For a non-restricted domain, the input variable will not be given. We only test or substitute using all the integers, positive integers and negative integers. So we just substitute them, and you know positive integers are integer, or let's just say integer are whole numbers. Yes, integers are whole numbers. So number that leave a remainder of 0 is integer. So we can also have a positive integer are the positive whole numbers. We can have negative integers are the negative whole numbers. So that is just it. So those are the things, the value we can easily substitute so that we can get our domain. So in this wise, we just take another definitions of term. So the second one is 2. So second one is 2. We have a codomain. Codomain is the superset of the range. Yes. So codomain is the superset of the range. So it is the value that is able to pair with the domain, or value that is unable to pair with the domain. So value that is able to pair and that's unable to pair. So the value that is able to pair with the domain or unable to pair with the domain is called the codomain. Both of them, or so any value that is able to pair and unable to pair is called the codomain. Okay? So the value that is able to pair or not able to pair with the domain. Is a codomain. Okay, so that is codomain for you. We can also have a range. Range is the subset of codomain. Range is the subset of codomain. Range is the subset of codomain. Let me write all this on so that I can easily memorize or got. So we have a range. This is the subset of codomain. So it's under codomain. It belongs. What is something is subset? That means it belongs to some to it. So it's the subset of codomain. Or we can say that if these are the value that only pair with the domain. with the domain. So the value that's able to pair with the domain is a range. It's a range. So we can use an arrow diagram